Whether you like to fish structure, flats, offshore, or channels, our expert guides are ready to give you all the tips you'll need for your weekend on the water. This is the Texas Insider Fishing Report.
Well, hello there, Texans, and thanks for tuning in to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. We hear the reports have been good, and all that's on our minds right now are the 3 F's: fall, football, and Rick, can you guess the third?
Fishing.
Wow, yeah, you're so good. Yeah, fishing.
How about it?
How about it? You're so
five.
smart. Dave Farrell at the CCA Workbench
No,
has
five.
more to add about the fishing category, don't you, Dave?
Yeah, I sure do. We're going to talk a little bit about how to wire a blue marlin tonight, about how to get one of those big fish up close to the boat.
That is
Well-
definitely something Dave has done more than once.
Yes, he
Yeah.
has. It's going to get wild in here. All right, starting us off is going to be our guide, Rick Carter, in the Upper Fresh region with more than enough bass report to go around. Go for it, Rick.
Hey guys, we're going to go out west here to Possum Kingdom Lake. The water is stained out there about a foot low. The bass are good on skitter walks and whopper ploppers on your early morning bites. Switching to Texas rigs, 3/8 ounce with a 7-inch ribbon tail worm, green pumpkins the color. Also throwing chrome blackback rattle traps around the docks, catching them on Possum Kingdom. The drop shot pattern around the docks in 20 foot and less of water has been good for a couple of weeks, using a tap-out worm by Assassin. Watermelon red's a choice on that. The stripers are also being caught on live shad on Possum Kingdom, about 20 foot by the Hell's Gate area. Moving on to Lake of the Pines, the fish are schooling on the flats. About mid-lake, white rattle traps and small topwaters like yellow magics are catching those schooling bass on Lake of the Pines. Midday, 12 to 16 foot with the Carolina rig, 6XD Strike King crankbaits are catching them. And also on Lake of the Pines, the north end is frog heaven on that lake, 65-pound braid, river to sea bully wall frog in the black and red. Here on Lake Fork, the fish are biting shallow, 5 to 12. Shaky heads and wacky rigs are catching good ones right now around the pepper grass on the south end. Chartreuse pumpkin tap-out worms have been the best color and the best worm. Spinner baits and buzz baits are catching on Fork early at first light around mid-lake. The creeks are filling up with shad now, so it's setting up for a great fall bite on Fork. Traps and square bills. We'll be catching some of those on those flats. Bob Seeley was just here, had a great event. Couple of big fish over 10 weighed in, so we appreciate old Bob Seeley coming to Fork every year.
Tell us about the photo here, Rick.
That photo is Miss Daphne Carter. I happen to know her. It was caught right here behind my house on Fork, and a big old pretty fall bass right there.
That's a nice one, man.
Beautiful wife.
So can we talk about some crappie?
Hey, Terry Moon's still catching them big limits on Fork, 16 to 22 foot this week. Bubba's baits in the electric chicken and pearl white on an 1/8 ounce jig head. They're hitting it on the fall right now, so you need a good spinning rig. Move around, hit a few spots, and catch them limits still out here on Fork.
All right, you got one last photo, I believe.
Yes, that's Aaron, Brittany, and Kim. They were on a birthday trip, I believe, with Terry Moon, and you could hear those girls hooping it up all over the lake that day. I think they had a blast.
Well, my birthday's in June. You think we could set up a trip for them to take me next year?
Yes, sir. I'll be right there with you.
All right, Bub. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Upper Fresh hotspots from Rick Carter's region. Lake Fork, the bass are good in 4 to 10 feet. A wacky rig tap-out bass assassin worm and chartreuse pumpkin color is going to be your best bait. And then crappie, the bite is still good in 15 to 25 foot of water. Brush piles are the key to that success, Bree.
So were you talking about Rick or the girls taking you? fishing for your
Let's
birthday.
just go to the
Okay,
next
we'll go to the
region.
next one. We're now bringing you your Middle Coast region guide, Bink Grimes, with some inshore and offshore news you've got to hear. Hey, Bink.
What's going on? Hey, every new tide is ushering in more salt water from the Gulf, and our bays are back to normal. A lot of people just keep asking that, how's everything going? And, man, they're back to normal. Guy Tommy Alexander reported limit to trout in East Matagorda Bay while drifting deep shell on Norton Bull Menace. He said the water's greening up throughout the day with the tide changes, and those mid-bay reefs are producing heavy trout while wading with topwaters and soft plastics like down south lures, Little Johns, and Bass Assassins. Then guide Ray Sexton over in West Matagorda said it's been hot for limits of trout over shell while he's wading. He said all that water along the south shoreline is definitely salty, and he's found good numbers of trout around Palacios Point on North Winds and Tres Palacios Bay and on the backside of Oyster Lake. And then on down at Port O'Connor, catches picked up this week with Lynn Smith. He said those fish are really, really willing to eat topwaters right now. Good stringers have come on, around the Cedars, City Slickers, on Super Spook, She Dogs, Top Dogs, and Skitterwalks. And that area is right there around the jetty and Pascaval, so it's getting a lot of tidal flow coming through. And right there at the jetty, the live shrimp and live croakers produce good trout. He's waded the backside of the jetty on calm winds, and there's also been around the jetty in Surfside and Freeport a lot of trout coming on live shrimp and mirror lures. Good thing Colorado River's cleaning up and greening up around Matagorda. You know, what was 48-foot wall of water a month ago is now back down to normal, and it's green, and those trout are showing up at night under the lights there, and during the day up to 20 inches while drifting with hoagies and Little Johns. And that photo there is Captain Ray Sexton smiling with a really, really nice stringer East Matagorda Bay caught on the Big Bay Reef there. And the big ones he released, that's a lot of good trout, but he released 4 over 6 pounds that morning, so that was a pretty good day. We'll go to the redfish, man. We've got a lot of redfish showing up. It's September, and that's what happens when we get bigger tides. And waders are finding those around West Matagorda Bay on the south shoreline. They're casting the points and shells with gold spoons and gulps and live shrimp. And then those bull redfish, it happens every September along the beachfront from Surfside to Port O'Connor. All the jetties are players as well. Surfside, Freeport, Matagorda jetties are holding lots of redfish on cracked blue crabs, mullet, and fresh table shrimp. And then that Port O'Connor jetty's full of big reds as well. Around the front of Bird Island, they're soaking menhaden, large table shrimp, and mullet on the moving tides. And our slot-size redfish are showing in bunches of 2 dozen or more on the grass lines on the north shoreline of West Bay, like around Shell Island, Twin Island, Cutoff Flat, Zipper and Bow, Mud Lake, and Crab Lake. And we're supposed to get a front this week that's going to drop water temperatures down. And when that happens, those reds really start bunching up in big groups. You can see them coming. It's pretty cool to cast in front of them because it's a rodeo once you get everybody in the boat on them. We'll go to
Wait, Bink. Let me interrupt you. We're going to talk about East Matagorda Bay. We're going to show the navionics from your region. So, guys, we're looking here at East Matagorda Bay, and the one thing that we had talked about is he said a little bit about Bird Island. Well, when we sit here and look at this, one thing that Brink was telling me earlier is all these little drop-offs. If you want to throw one of those popping corks that he referred to, you're going to find a lot of good trout. You can fish them with live bait or even soft plastic. And then what he said is going to happen in the next few weeks as the water cools is all these little cuts are going to actually start having the fish stage, as well as the flounder are going to move into all these little cuts. So keep that in mind, so that as the water starts to cool off, move into those areas, and especially on those north winds when the water's blowing through the cuts, that's going to actually make the fishing even a little better. All right, Bink, now let's talk a little bit about the Gulf trout.
Gulf trout, yeah, we got those high tides, and it pushes these Gulf trout. And what's their white trout, or people call them sand trout, and they're just big old 2-pound fish. They're great to eat, and they're in the middle of East Matagorda Bay. Tom Alexander said he caught trout to 2 pounds on those Norton Bull Menace. Spots like Boiler Bow, Don's Pipeline, and Alice are good spots for the Gulf trout. Best baits are live shrimp under a popping cork or Gulf, and man, they're really good to eat. Fillets are perfect in ceviche and great while fried in peanut oil. And there's also, if you fish in the beachfront, a lot of these Gulf trout will show up with plum plastics or just fresh dead shrimp. We'll go offshore with tarpon. Tarpon continue to press along the beachfront. This is our time for them in Texas, late September, early October, and especially in Port O'Connor. Anglers are drifting menhaden and shrimp and mullet and finding fish, 5 to 10 fish a day. Large schools are right around that Port O'Connor jetty in about 60 to 70 foot of water. Most people are spotting rolling fish, and they're getting up ahead of them and casting in front of them, just like y'all do it in Florida. A cold front forecasted this week should lay the Gulf down. We're expecting seas in 1 to 2 foot this weekend, and it's going to cool things off. And man, it's going to make it easy to get off the beach and try to find these silver kings. I love doing it.
All right, Bink. Well, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Middle Coast hotspots. Inshore, trout are good. While drifting in East Matagorda Bay over the shell in 5 feet of water, try down south lures, Norton bull minnows, bass assassins, and little johns for those trout. And then offshore, tarpon on the beach and near the jetty in Port O'Connor while drifting finger mullet, shad, or maybe throw a hard bait or two.
Okay, well, coming right up in the Texas Insider Fishing Report, we're checking in with the lower fresh region, and we're also moseying over to the CCA Workbench for rigs and techniques with Dave.
Dave over there making a lot of noise.
Yeah,
Got your gloves on?
Got to put my gloves on, because when you're going to wire blue marlin, you got to have some gloves on. We're going to talk a little bit about that.
Have to protect your hands, right?
Keeping your hands
Absolutely.
soft and supple.
We'll be back. Soft and supple.
That's right.
So they won't look like these.
That's
The
right.
Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. The American Fishing Tackle Company. Precision tackle and performance clothing since 1958. Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist. Navionics. We start where the road ends. CCA Texas, a leader in marine conservation. And Okuma, inspired fishing. Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower four-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard in 25 horsepower portable four-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower four-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's VTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Well, we're here at the CCA Workbench, and you know, Dave, the one thing that I am not familiar with is how to do this the right way to wire a big fish.
Well, we talked a little bit early, a couple of shows ago about how to gaff a fish, and this is, before that happens, actually. This is what you need to do to get the fish up close to the boat. Luckily, nowadays, most of the guys have wind-on leaders, which helps a lot.
Right.
You don't have a swivel that comes to the tip like I've got here, so you have 30 feet of leader or 20 feet of leader, depending on what pound test you're using, to leader up.
Right.
So, I would suggest that anybody who's going to start wiring fish do so starting with a wind-on leader, because you can just eke it up and help, help out the angler just a little bit by pinching and pulling. This little technique I'm going to show you is how to wire billfish or any fish, a big dolphin, a wahoo, a cobia, or whatever. It's just the wraps that we make so that you can let go easily. And that's the best thing, that's what a mate has to learn, is when to let go. Not to be a big, strong guy to hold on. The best mates I know are all little fellas, 130 pounds, 150 pounds, and they regularly whip big, big fish. And if you do what I'm going to show you right here, it'll help you out a little bit towards catching any fish and letting it go.
So let's step around. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to grab our Okuma rod here with our Makaira. This is a 30 wide, but this applies whether it's a 30, a 20, a 50, an 80, whatever it may be, yes?
Yep, that's correct. And what's going to happen is when you're going to want to get this fish close to the boat, the swivel is going to come to the tip here, like if you've got, or the wind-on leader section is going to come through. Now the fish has been on there fighting on 10 pounds to 12 pounds or 20 pounds of drag, whatever it is, for a long time. So when you first come up to start this process, you want to be in the corner of the boat, because the captain can see and help you out. He's your best friend when you're wiring a fish. But when you reach up and you're going to give it a little pinch, just like this, just to see what that fish is going to do. Because like I said, he's been pulling at 28 pounds, and when I reach over and give him this, he's going to make a move, or usually a bolt or a jump or something, and I'm just going to let it go and let him settle down, and we're going to be roaring back, and I'm going to reach up and grab it again, because I can always grab it again.
So safe to say fingertips is the key, right, Bub?
That's right. I'm just going to give it a little pinch like that. Now once the fish, I'm going to keep my eyes on the fish, and once I give him that little pinch and he doesn't do anything, I'm going to start making my wraps. And when you make these wraps, you're always going to do 2 at a time. Never 1, and never 3, because we're going to be, if we do this correctly, we're going to be able to let go easily. I'm going to give it a little pinch. I'm going to get it down low. I'm going to come up underneath and then go back over the top.
1.
And see how that is laying in the middle of my hand?
Yes.
You want it to lay in the palm of your hand. So you go 1, 2, right? And then you're going to pull that fish to you, staying low, doing everything really low inside the boat. You don't want to be reaching out and getting stuff, because if I'm reached out and he jumps, then I can get pulled out really quick, even faster than I can let go. But if I have the 2 wraps, I can let go and it'll come off. If I do 3, there's a chance that when I go to let go, it might not come off as fast as I want it to. And when I let go, I want it to come off. And if I only do 1, if I start to pull on him and I slip, which it can happen, and I get slipped up against this swivel, then I'm locked in. And I don't want to be locked in, especially if I have another wrap here, because I'm always going to let this one go as soon as I get this one. But again, this is the key, is to just do this twice. Come over and under, 1, 2, every time. And you're going to pull that fish to you, and as soon as you get another one, 1, 2, you can let go of this one. And then pull him in. I'm stepping forward. I'm going to be pulling the fish to me, hopefully.
Using your body weight against his. This is 300-pound mono.
And if the fish jumps, I need to let go immediately. Because there's only 3 things that can happen, and only 2 of them are good. I mean, one of them is good. If he jumps away from me and I let go, we can go catch him again. If I don't let go and I break the leader, we didn't get the picture, we didn't get the tag. We didn't get to eat the fish. He's no good. And, what we want is we want to be able to let go and go get him, again. And I don't want to go out of the boat. I want to stay in the boat.
You know what? We're going to have to just give you more time, because I feel like I'm on the edge of my seat
We
here.
could still keep going, but we got to.
But we got to keep moving to another region.
I'm on the edge of the dock over here. That was pretty interactive, Dave. That was great.
I love that, Dale. Good job, man.
Coming up in a few weeks is the CCA Star Awards banquet on Thursday, October 12th at the Bayou City Event Center in Houston at 5:30. CCA will be giving away prizes and scholarships to all the winners, as well as raffles and a silent and live auction. To get your tickets, give the CCA office a ring. All right, Matt Reed in the Yeti Lower Fresh region is patiently waiting to give you some weekend bass hotspots. So, Matt, tell them what they want to hear.
All right, y'all ready to talk about a little South Texas bass fishing?
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Absolutely. We're going to do my normal run of as many lakes as we can go through. So we're going to start off with the obviously largemouth bass report. I've got one from Greg Boyd at Angler's Edge Guide Service for Fayette County. Early morning topwater bite has been sporadic at best. Hadn't been very good early in the mornings. But the afternoon and the evenings have been very, very good. Catching them on the main lake points from Carolina rig soft plastics and drop shots. That's been a very good place to be. Moving on toward the Austin area with Brian Cotter at Texas Hogs. He's sent a report on several lakes. Lake Travis is fishing good right now on pop-Rs and Strike Pro wake baits up in the shallow waters. Jigs out on the rock ledges and out to 45 feet of water are doing really well. Those fish get that deep on Travis because of the clear water. Let's move on over to Lake Decker. It's fishing decent right now with using tiny shad color flukes and 5-inch worms in the discharge and along the reeds in the back of the coves. Those fish in the discharge are schooling early in the morning. You can catch them on those little bitty flukes. Another lake in the Austin area that I've not reported on at all is dishing out some really good fish right now. Inks Lake. A lot of people think of Inks Lake as just a recreational lake, but it's fishing really good right now. Concentrate on the docks. Get a finesse jig and fish the docks, fish the fluke. You can also fish a fluke around the docks, the ones that are up off the bottom. If you move to the rock cover, you can throw a frog or a square bill over and around those big rocks and catch some really good fish. Let's move on further south right now. I've been at Lake Falcon quite a bit lately, and the fishing is off the charts. I'm catching a ton of fish. You know, we're catching 50 to 75 fish a day on an average day. The lower end of the lake has been my best. I'm fishing out on the rock ledges. To get the numbers of bites, I'm throwing a Carolina rig Zoom Magnum trickworm and plum apple. That seems to be my best presentation to get numbers of bites, and also, you know, you get a big one thrown in every now and then, but you sure get to set the hook a bunch. If I'm trying to target those bigger fish right now, I'm throwing an 11-inch Yum Mighty Worm on a Profound Outdoors head turner, 3/4 ounce stand-up head. That big worm, you won't get as many bites, but man, you can catch some good ones. You know, we had a couple 8-pounders the other day, and have had several, 7+s mixed in throughout the week. Another way we're catching some of the big fish is a Z-Boss 20 crankbait in either Moon Glow. That's my favorite color. School Bus is another really good color, but anything with the chartreuse patterns in it, that's what the fish at Falcon likes the best in a crankbait.
So why don't you tell me about this photo, Bub?
That photo is just one of the big ones I caught the other day on the big stand-up head. They like that 11-inch worm. That's the type of fish you're targeting when you're throwing that stand-up head.
Awesome.
Let's talk about some catfish. Let's move on down to Lake Amistad. The catfishing is really good still. The channel cat are relating to the outside edges of the hydrilla. And that's in that 10 to 14 foot range, some of it. The bigger blue cat are out on the deep rock ledges, and those fish are really deep. Those fish are in 80 to 100 foot of water. And they'll bite fresh cut shad and also the punch bait out there. But the key to the catfish at Amistad, like most any lake, you really want to concentrate those things. Get you some sour grain, bait the area, get a chance to bait it for several days, and you'll have those catfish concentrated around there where it sure helps you catch a limit of them. But fishing's really good all over the South Texas region. Most of the flood waters have receded some on the lakes, and everything's pretty much back to full go. So give me a shout and we'll go catch them some.
All right, thank you so much, Matt. Great report from the Yeti Lower Fresh region. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. Our captain, Matt, says bass, largemouth bass on Lake Falcon are biting well on the lower end of the lake on a Carolina rig soft plastic and the stand-up head soft plastics. And then catfish, Lake Amistad catfish are biting punch baits, channel cats on the outside edge of the hydrilla, and bigger blue cats are in the deeper rock ledges in 80 to 100 feet of water.
Hot
For
dang.
a dang catfish,
Catfish.
100 feet of water. That's deep jigging, man.
Super deep. All right, hang tight, everyone. We're taking a short break, but when we come back, we are checking in with the Upper Coast and Middle Fresh regions and also talking with a special guest from Okuma right here on the Texas Insider
Fishing Report.
Teamwork.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Contender Boats, performance through innovation. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. CCA Star, fishing fun for giant prizes and scholarships. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. And King Sailfish Mounts, www.kingsailfish.com.
At Yamaha, reliability is a family tradition. Meet the next generation. 4 new advanced technology-inspired inline 4-cylinder performers. Bred from the reliability and boater satisfaction that is part of Yamaha's DNA. They prove that when power gets lighter, faster, stronger, and smarter, boating gets even better. And more satisfying for boaters like you.
Hey, how do you like your contender? How do I like my contender? What's not to like? Dude, I just saw a contender, and man, I gotta give me one.
As close as you're gonna get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle.
When it comes to sailfishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Well, welcome back to the Texas Insider Fishing Report, and as you can see, I have my friend Dave Brown from Okuma. You know, Dave, the one thing that's so cool about Texas is that we have freshwater guys and we have saltwater guys.
Amazing place.
We have coastal guys and we have offshore guys. And you guys build reels for all of that.
We do.
So let's talk a little bit about the freshwater bait casters as well as all the bait casting lines and rods that you guys have.
Certainly. This first guy here, that's the new Scott Martin rod. Those came out actually a couple of years ago. That's the TCS, Tournament Concept Series rod. We designed those in conjunction with Scott Martin himself. We brought him over to our facility and he walked us through what he was looking for in rods and reels, the techniques he likes, very specific on what he wants as far as components. We designed that rod, we brought it to him, and he liked everything we did about him.
So when Scott, where did Scott go? Did he come to California?
He went overseas. He went overseas to our facilities.
Oh, nice. All right, so he's not the only freshwater guy you guys have on staff. So
he's not. So everybody knows Scott Martin. We also have Matt Airy on the FLW side. We have Clint Davis on the Elites, and we also have Jacob Wheeler, also a Forest Wood Cup winner.
Nice. So price point between this is the EVX series?
This is. So the 3 guys that I just mentioned, we brought them to our facilities in California and we walked them through what they're looking for in rods. We took all of the specifications that they're looking for and they put everything we could right into this EVX series of rods.
So let me ask you something. Obviously, these guys went through the full line of bait casters. Now, these bait casters aren't just designed for freshwater. You could take this rod and reel combo and certainly go down to the coast to fish for trout, redfish,
You can
flounder.
walk right from the lake catching largemouth bass, go down and catch speckled trout all day long.
So is there anything, if somebody has a question about any line of rods or reels that Okuma has, where can they go, Dave?
You can go right to www.okumafishingusa.com.
You did a good job.
Thanks, Rick. Had a great time being here.
You need to do more to this TV stuff. We need to have you here, next year when we have ICAST come.
Perfect.
You know what?
We'll come walk you through all the new
bring
products.
in all the new products. Let's make a date of that.
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you so much. Bree, we got to go to another region.
Dave, number 2, you sure did a good job. Thanks for being here. Let's head to the Upper Coast region where Captain Caleb Harp is holding down the fort. How's everything going up there, Caleb?
Pretty good, guys. We're starting to recover a little bit from the flood, but still a long road to recovery, but we'll be good. But, the West Bay is still going to be your most consistent after the flood, and it'll, continue to be like that for a while. It's still going to be a while before we're 100% back to normal, but, it's looking pretty good over there in West Bay. There's been a lot of reports of, some guys having success in different areas, including a few spots in East Bay where they're catching some fish right now. So that's a really good sign. But, your best option for a consistent bite is still going to be in West Bay, being that it was, the least affected. And, West Bay is always a great fall and winter fishery. So whenever those first couple cold fronts come in, here pretty soon, it's going to stage those fish up on those for their fall routine. They'll be easier to pinpoint. The South Shoreline coves of West Galveston Bay are always really good during these months. So if you're going to try to chase trout, I wouldn't pass up those West Bay coves. And then the redfish, the redfish have been good on the Galveston jetties. The bull red run is about to crank up, and there's already been a ton of bulls out there on the rocks. You can catch these giants on about anything. Crankbaits and jig and gulp, like we've talked about, and like how we normally fish for reds on the jetties work. But, throwing bait like, dead mullet or anything like that is going to give you more opportunity for more bites. Remember to always play the tide when you're fishing the jetties. Whenever you got an incoming tide, you're going to want to fish the outside of the rocks. And whenever you got an outgoing tide, you're going to want to fish the inside of the rocks.
All right, you ready to go offshore, Buck?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Okay, tell me.
The dolphin bite's still been pretty good on the tight weed lines out of Galveston to Freeport. And, there's been a lot of little chicken dolphin out there with occasionally a couple big ones. Nothing really big, but still a lot of fun. And skipping ballyhoo has been, the best technique, like normal. And then the tarpon, the tarpon season here goes through October. And according to James Pogg and a lot of the other tarpon guides, late September and early October are some of the best times to catch the biggest tarpon. Most guys are still running west out of the Galveston jetties or just running out of the San Luis Pass. And they're seeing most of their fish between the San Luis Pass and the Brazos River still. It's always a real notorious area this time of year. Trolling coon pops has been their best bait, too.
All right, well, I saw a post on your Instagram where you're holding a plethora of blue-winged teal. How was that?
It was pretty good. It just ended. We had our 16-day season here in Texas. It just ended last Sunday. So we've been down there hammering on those birds for a while, and I'm sure they're glad it's over.
Caleb, let me ask you, I hunted ducks a long time when I was much younger, probably your age. I was a guide here in Florida. So I want to ask you something. What kind of teal were you shooting? Blue wings and green wings? And do you get any cinnamon teal mixed in?
Yeah, mainly blue wings. They're the first ones to migrate. We do see some green wings as well that'll come in. We actually had more green wings this year than we've seen in years past. I guess just because we had a little cold front early. But we don't really get many cinnamons. We do shoot a few every once in a while, but we just don't really see many around here too much. It's more of the Pacific flyway.
All right, well, thank you for keeping me straight on that. And guess what? I guess maybe we need to consider maybe a Texas Insider hunting report.
Well, there you go.
What do you think about that?
There you go.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the CCA hotspots from the Upper Coast region inshore. West Bay is holding the best water after the flood. The fish are the kind of spread out all over the place, but once the next cold front moves in, the fish will start to school up on the south shoreline and cover and coves for their traditional fall pattern. And then offshore, dolphin have been good for the weed lines and floating debris out of Galveston. You might want to skip a ballyhoo. That's been the best tactic. I get so excited about that. I can't even read. I'm starting to think about it.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Well, Rick, you might want to take a special moment with this very boat we are sitting on. Because Maverick Boat Group is auctioning this Pathfinder 2200 fully equipped with 100% of the sales proceeds going to help those in the fishing community who have been significantly impacted by Hurricane Harvey and Irma. The auction will take place online at mbg4relief.com and run through October 5th in order to raise and distribute funds quickly. For more information, head to our website, cfifr.com. But Rick, what a great way to give back.
I know.
It's awesome.
And Ameritrail trailer, power pole, Yamaha, it all comes with it.
Yep,
the
it
beautiful
does.
thing.
And we're going to kiss it tonight, aren't we?
Yep. So thank you so much, Maverick, for stepping
Yeah,
up.
thank you. That's great. All right, Stephen Johnson is your Middle Fresh Region guide, and he's got just what it takes to get you a few bites on the water this weekend. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, how y'all doing? And I'm kind of jealous over that teal hunt. I've been on the lake just about all week and really hadn't got to do any. I did get to sneak away and make a little dove hunt, and I don't think it was as good as some of those teal hunts y'all were talking about a while ago. But hey, we're going to start talking about some bass up here on Toledo Bend to start with. The water's being pulled. We had 19 inches of rain around the bend, and the water rose. And most time this time of year, it's down 4 feet, so it's about 2.5 feet down. So they got both generators going. And with that happening, it's really got a good current out there on the main lake. So any of the main lake points, we're catching them from 10 to 16 feet of water. The best bait, some kind of shad. And every once in a while, if you get a cloudy day, you can go to a perch color crankbait like a 6XD Strike King, a 10XD, or a DD22, or a big Rapala, something like that. And also throwing a Texas rig worm and a Carolina rig. A lot of guys want to throw that football jig out there. But really, in this kind of heat of the summer, kind of got back in a little heat now, and they really kind of stay away from that football jig, and they can stay on that worm more. But, last week we really talked about a lot of the fish going in the creeks. They've kind of stopped. They hadn't turned around and went out, but they're about halfway in. A lot of the fish, they're in the very back of the creeks. They're still there. But that next wave of fish that were going in, they really kind of slowed down. But we got a nice little cool front coming this week. So really, as you go in the creeks on Toledo Bend, watch for all the bends and try to stay away from those straightaways. If you catch them on the straightaways, more power to you. But for me, it's always on the bends of the creek, 6 to 9 feet, and the best bait's a square bill, some kind of lipless crankbait. But once you get those fish fired up, then they'll come up schooling, and once they come up schooling, then you can throw some kind of top water and really get them going. Let's jump over to some crappie fishing. Most time, I really kind of shut everything down on the crappie about the middle of September, but we had that nice cool front there right around a couple weeks ago with the storms, and then after that, we're back up in the mid-90s here, just about all over my region. So Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn, they're back going strong. Gary, who works for me, they were not the customers. They weren't complaining, but they were saying they almost caught limits too fast. I believe they were done one morning at 9:30 with 50, and then one morning at 9:50 with 50, going out at 7 in the morning. So the bite's real good, and it looks like that should keep going for the next week or so at least. This little front coming in, it's not going to slow it down too much at all. The crappie are coming 10 to 15 foot over 20, 25, 30 foot of water. And you've also started seeing a few crappies start migrating in the creeks. A lot of guys are saying it's really too early, but as the shad move in, the crappie will, follow the shad in. So any of the bridges, just about anywhere on Rayburn and Toledo are all good. And also I like to, give a shout out to my whole rest of my region. We talked last week about the bass moving in the back of the creeks, moving. And with this warmer weather, it's really slowed it down, from one side of my region to the other. But everybody remember, this little front coming this week's going to cool them temps back down. Those shad are going to take off. Had some good reports from Belton, from Steelhouse, from Livingston. At Livingston, the guys are saying there's so many white bass mixed in with the black bass, it's hard to, get the white bass off, but it's some great action. So, like I said earlier, look for the bends in the creeks, try to stay out of the straightaways at 6 to 10 foot, just about, all the lakes over my region. And this little front coming, what it's going to do, bow season opens this weekend, squirrel season opens this weekend, so a lot of guys are going to go get in the woods. So this is one of my favorite times of year to fish because it takes a lot of our fishermen off and puts them in the woods. But, man, it's a great time of the year to get out there, have some of these, cool afternoons, light winds, and I'm really looking forward to it for the next couple of weeks.
Hey, Stephen, I got a quick question for you. As these cooler water temperatures, is that going to make the bass go deep, or are they going to go shallow like they do, typically in the spring? Which way do they go?
They go shallow. Some of our lakes, they go real shallow. Some of them go up, a foot, 2 foot. And then once you have a hard winter, once a couple of those big cold fronts, then some of those shad will back out. A lot of our lakes in the Middle Fresh region, we have so many shad, they all can't go in. So some of them stay out there, but those ones out on the main lake, it's really got to get cold to get them down on the bottom. But your best fight for as many, fish you're going to catch the next couple of weeks, go halfway in the creeks and fish all the way till you can't get your boat any further.
All right, bud. Thanks for clearing that up for me. I appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Middle Fresh hotspots. Bass have moved about halfway back in most of the creeks. With cooler temps coming this weekend, it will probably get them back on the move and very back of the creeks. Look for them there. And then fish all the bends of the creeks in 4 to 8 feet of water. Make sure you always fish the windy side. This is working on the Middle Fresh region lakes throughout the whole region. You know what I like?
What?
You see, fish in the curves, don't fish the straightaways. Well, next thing I know, I thought I was in a NASCAR.
Shing. All right, we're headed south to the Lower Coast region next, but it's a NASCAR, right?
Right, come on.
But we also have a shopping date with Dave Farrell at the CCA Workbench for some new product action, right, Dave?
Yes, we do. We got some really cool safety products too.
Got anything for
Very
squirrel
important.
season?
Very important. Squirrel?
Squirrel? All right, we'll be back, guys.
Squirrel.
I love the squirrels.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder. Rapala. Catch the latest at rapala.com. Yeti, built for the wild. Building Conservation Trust, CCA's National Habitat Program. StarTron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
The ultimate predator has evolved again. Now, Yamaha VMAX SHO Performance is prowling the waters in 4 hungry, exciting new models. With their 4 valves per cylinder and double overhead cam fuel-injected design, these advanced 4-stroke predators are taking performance to a whole new level. Vicious, lean, efficient. VMAX SHO. The pack is growing.
Thanks for tuning in to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes as well as special segments right on our homepage. Just head to TexasInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up.
Today's Power Pole tip of the week is about the different ways that you can mount your hydraulic anchor. Now think about it this way, guys. Certainly through bolting is the preferred way for all you technical poling skiffs. But you know, this is the typical bracket that comes with all of our poles. So you can simply through bolt it. You can decide whether you want it outward or inward. But in most cases, this is the preferred way for technical poling skiffs. Now with that being said, some of you guys want to move your pole closer in. You want to have it so that it's tighter to a poling platform or right next to your motor. If that's the case, then Power Pole has created this jack plate bracket. And simply, this bolts to all jack plates on the side. Now, the Atlas, as well as the Bob's Machine Shop brackets, have been pre-drilled. After you've bolted to the bracket itself, then you can simply mount your power pole to the backside of this. Now, for those of you who don't have a jack plate, Power Pole's made it really simple. You can simply take off the engine and then put this against the transom, mounting your power pole here. This is the shim for the other side, and this allows you to be able to use your power poles and have them, again, mounted using the same holes that you've already drilled, mounting your motor. Now, for those of you guys that have flat deck boats like pontoons, Power Pole created this bracket. You simply bolt this to the deck, and then you can mount your power pole to this bracket as well. And also, for those guys that have boats that are real high, this allows that power pole to extend down in the water so they can actually reach the bottom. Now, we've also created a universal aluminum bracket for all aluminum boats. So if you have any questions about how this is mounted through the splash well of aluminum boat, you can go to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, click on Power Pole, and all your questions can be answered. And that's today's Power Pole Tip of the Week. So we're here at the CCA Workbench, and new products is part of what we do every week.
Yep.
And Dave?
We're going to start out with the Yeti Loadout Bucket. This was like the best product at the IGFA, at the ICAST big show that we had here in the summertime. So it's very, very unique. Very strong, built like a tank.
Oh, like every Yeti.
Yeah. Awesome strap here, it rotates, won't come ripping out of there when you try to reach over and get 5 gallons of water for whatever you're doing in the boat. It's got a little ring here that's got slits in it for all your knives and some of your tools. And also, what it actually does is there's little add-ons that you can put on, little tool kits, accessories that you can put on there. It's got a lid that you can put on there to sit on it. This is really the best part of it, I think, is a nice non-skid. If you have a bucket in the back, it's always sliding around, even with water in it. This one's not going to slide around for you. So,
and I like that it's heavy duty. It feels, it's not too heavy, but it feels
it'll last
like
a long
Yeti,
time.
You know what I mean?
It'll last a long time, and we go through them, and this one you will not go through. You will keep this one for a long time.
Bree?
Very cool.
You cannot have this.
Please. This is my color,
She wants it bad too.
This is going home with Daddy.
Okay.
This is a really cool product. This is called the Lifeguard Lanyard, and what this is, it's a kill switch lanyard that goes on your foot, like a leash, like a surfboard leash, instead of going on your hand. When you've got one on your wrist or your life jacket and you sit down at the steering wheel, you've got the the little coils between you and everything. It gets in your steering wheel. You go to mess with your GPS, it gets hung up and everything.
Right.
This gets it out of the way, and also, more importantly, it's very comfortable, and you'll probably wear it. Most guys don't wear them. We only wear them usually when we're in a tournament, and that's how this guy started. He says, well, I got to wear it in the tournament. So he made one of these for himself. He gave a couple to Tommy Derringer up there, and they just loved it. And he started making them, and I think it's a great idea. It keeps everything down low. When you put your kill, you can put any kind of kill switch you want on here. Whoever makes your motor, you put your kill switch on here, put this around your ankle, left or right ankle, and gets everything out of the way, and it's very comfortable. You forget you've got it on there.
Lifeguardlanyard.com.
Yep, exactly, and it
cool.
Very very well made stuff.
Right.
You can buy these for like 10. The regular lanyards for like $10, but this is a very nice one that's going to last you forever.
Hi, Dave.
All right, we got some Starbright snap and zipper lube. When we've got all kinds of rain gear and whatnot, and they all come with zippers, and they either have little metal accoutrements on them or just the metal zipper itself.
Right.
This is a nice waterproof zipper, but it's got a metal clasp on it. So whenever, even if the zipper itself is not metal, and the main tang is, it's gonna mess it up. So you got to have some good lube to go on it.
They take this lube,
right?
Which is this lube? I don't know if you know the answer to this. Is this waterproof?
It is, and it's non-staining. It outlasts the lip balm style that you can get. It's non-toxic. It works from -65 to 650 degrees. you know, you're going to be burned up before this stuff will, that's for sure.
Right.
And it's good for any metal-to-metal work, not just zippers. If you have hinges or, you know, stuff on the boat that, you know, any kind of hatch that needs some lubrication, that stuff will do it. You know, nice, good zipper lubricant.
Tell me about the bait pumps.
Well, these are some really cool stuff. The Hooker Electric high flow bait well pump. I mean, I've seen a lot of bait well pumps in my life, but these are the nicest, sexiest looking bait well pump. If you can say that a pump is sexy looking, these definitely are. They're made out of, you know, aluminum on the outside and high quality PFC on the bottom. Variable speeds, 2,500 or 4,500 gallons per minute, which is huge. The good thing about it is they're variable, so you don't have to push all that water if you don't want to. You can run more than one live well from one pump. You know, if you got this big heavy pump that can move a lot of water, you can run 3 or 4 live wells off of it.
Right. And what I liked about them in the sailfish boat, the C1 sailfish boat, Dave, is that when you're running hard to go to the next spot and you're in a tournament, you forget about all that. You can reach in and dial it down while you're running.
Right.
That is such
Keeps
a
you
huge
from flooding
plus.
the back of your boat.
And killing all your bait.
The variable speed is key.
All right, Bree, variable speed is key. Don't forget that.
It is key. All right, well, the lower coast region is closing us out, so Captain Chad Kinney, give it all you got.
I'll tell you what, got some great reports from all around my whole section there, starting up with inshore, Corpus Christi up there. Corpus Christi Bay is holding some good trout around the wells, and the redfish are schooling up at the big bayou. Talked to Captain Doug Stanford, and he said there's still some debris and stuff up there, but quite a few people are getting back to fishing, and it's going real well. And he said the trout is really stacked up on the wells there in Corpus Christi Bay. He's been doing real well with white gulps and gold spoons. If live bait's available, live shrimp's working real well and piggies, but the live bait's kind of, real hit and miss with everything that's kind of happening. He'll be all back up and running here pretty soon. But the white gulps, try that with like a 1/4 ounce jig head, and I worked that through the water column on there. And the gold spoon, I like putting that on with a swivel with about an 18-inch, 25-pound fluorocarbon leader, and tie a loop knot to that spoon, because that spoon is going to twirl through that water. It'll help you with your line memory and everything else, so you won't get twisted up as bad at the end of the day there. But moving over to the redfish there, redfish, he said, are schooling up real good at the big bayou. He said there's some bull reds mixed in there with them. He said the live mullet's working really good, cut mullet. And Ramsey's Bay has also been holding good numbers of redfish. And to try the weedless gold spoons there, or some saltwater assassins, like a Morning Glory chartreuse, about an 1/8 ounce, 1/4 ounce jig head on that. And I like doing on those gold spoons, and that works great for redfish. That's my go-to stuff. And try different speeds when you're retrieving. Lots of times they like it really, really fast. If you're working some deep water, of course, you can drop it down and bounce it off it. But if you're fishing the flats, do a really quick retrieve, and you'll probably get some better strikes off that. Got a good picture there of Captain Doug Stanford. He had some good limit, 2-man limit of redfish there.
Nice.
Up after the storm there, so everything worked out good there. Heading over to the offshore, which is really good. Look at the deeper water there on the lower coast here for some Dorado over here. Blackfin tuna are still real solid. Plenty of snapper and state waters, and some kingfish mixed in there with them. So I've got a report. Buddy of mine, Captain Mike Walker of South Padre Island, saltwater charters. He caught some good numbers of Dorado, and the color change about 40, 50 miles out here. It's a good rip. It's been out there for a while just after the storm, so it's kind of like green water goes to blue. If you got some good glasses, get some Coast sunglasses and check it out. You'll be able to see the complete difference. You won't be able to miss it. I'll have white water stacked up in the middle. Try some ballyhoo with islanders and some feathers or cedar plugs on that rip. And look for any floating debris. If you've got some floating debris, the Dorado are definitely going to be stacked up, along there also. And if you want to also, while you're trolling that rip, throw a purple diver out there if you want a good chance for some wahoo. You got a good picture there. You got a good number of Dorado there on saltwater. You got about 30 Dorado there mixed in, some decent bulls, and then some chickens in there.
All right.
So heading up.
Go ahead.
Up to the tuna. Yeah. Heading to the tuna. Blackfin tuna, like I said, it's been holding on really, really good deep shrimp boats. I've been out several times in the last week, and it's just been solid. It's really good. The deeper the boat's better. Try a minimum of like 150 foot or better, but I usually try to get up there 200, 250 foot. A lot of the boats are still running and dragging out there, so just put 3 lines out and troll around them like in a figure 8. A lot of the boats, like I said, they keep on moving, so turn your sounder on and look for the tuna there. You'll probably see little orange splotches at 40 to 80 foot below the surface, and that's them. They're by their doors and the side of their riggings up front of the boat. Once you mark where they're at, concentrate on the boat, just kind of keep on moving through that section, and you'll probably get multiple knockdowns. And a lot of the time, when they're on anchor for some reason, which they haven't been here lately, they're probably already culling and chumming. So make some trolls behind the boat there. If you're not having any luck, look at your sounder. Sometimes those fish can be deeper. So get your Williamson flutter jig out, drop down deep, rip it through the water column. And if they're not coming up there, take some chum with you, throw some chum out the back end of the boat. That'll usually bring them up. And if you got that, free line it with like a live bait hook, about a 5 to 7/0. And then when you get that, you'll see them come up behind the boat. Just hit you back there, keep that flow right through there with the current. So that way when they hit it, let them run about 5 seconds or so, and then click your bail over. Don't set the hook and do anything else. It can be tied direct to your 25 or 40 pound mono, whatever you're using. And preset your drags and that stuff. So guys, because that tuna's going to try to sound on you, but it'll be a lot of fun. And last but not least, when you're tuna fishing like that, definitely carry an AFCO gaff with you. I've carried a couple different sizes, but I like that 2 to 3 inch gaff. Works a lot better. You have a lot less sliding out from you, and you can stick them right there on top of the head.
Tell me about this tuna photo, Chad.
Yeah, we've got a good blackfin tuna. That's one of our trips here last day or so. We've been having 20 tuna plus a day, and got some snapper mixing there with them on the way home. But plenty of action out there.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the lower coast region. Chad says that inshore you want to go trout and redfish. Corpus Christi Bay is holding plenty of trout around the wells, and redfish are schooling up in big bios. And then offshore, look to deeper water out to the lower coast for the Dorados and blackfin tunas. Plenty of snappers in state water and some kingfish mixed in.
Well, there you have it. 6 regions, 6 guides. All of Texas is going fishing this weekend.
Man, I'm so excited because I'm going there to do a sportsman's adventure with Chad in about 2 weeks.
That'll be fun.
I'm going
the
too.
weather stays nice. Dave is going.
I'm going too.
I forgot.
I'm not going.
How could I forget that Dave's going?
I'm not going.
Bree, why are you not going?
I'm going on my honeymoon to Thailand.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. High five.
Thailand.
Hey, give
Gonna
me a
go
high
catch
five.
me marlin.
Boat week.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.